Okay, Professor Galdini, we have some new pools, we have some new data that are coming in. I would like for you to explain how those data are understandable for the international corner, how we do read them. What's the news? What do you get from the numbers we are getting in?
Okay, since 1990 we have had this reality. Nobody has ever discussed and never put in doubt the fact that Socialist Party, Democratic Party and LSI, Socialist Movement for Integration, are the biggest parties in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody thought that in Albania, Socialist Party is a party with over 40%, and then DP is a party with over 30%,
okay,
and LSI is a party with 2, 3 or 10%. Now for the first time we see, according to this poll, that they accept the fact that the Socialist Party is under 29%. Democratic Party is under 15%.
Yes.
Socialist Movement for Integration is under 2%.
Incredible.
So the three of them, they make 46% of the votes. So imagine a little bit, for the first time, the regime, the three parties regime, are aware, and they have allowed to make it public that 54% of the Albanians do not want them anymore to be in charge. So the majority, it's a big dramatic change. So Albania is almost in a new era. Now there is every chance there that the new coming enters in scene.
Yeah, but we heard, sorry to interrupt you, we heard about this new coming, but in the polls we don't see, we just see they do not get to 50%, but where are the other votes? Where are they scattered? What do you think? Do you think LRA is getting the other votes? Who's getting those other votes?
Well, let me explain you two concepts.
Yes.
One concept is that when you are talking about a regime, the main message of the regime is that nothing changes. They are forever. Nothing can move them. Nothing can change things. Now, for the first time, we see that the majority of the Albanians can change things. This is so. The three main parties, despite the fact that they are divided, Socialist Party in government and Democratic Party and Socialist Movement for Integration are in opposition. The three of them, so the regime, the three parties of regime, is minority. None of them can ever create a government. They cannot even create a government. So the first thing, the first concept is that now we have a majority of the Albanians who doesn't want anymore to go along with the parties created after 1990, with the post-communist parties. So we are now at the edge of a new era. Whether they vote or not LRE, it's another discussion. It's a journey to be made. So now we know there is space. What's our problem? Our problem is that we are working in a very difficult situation. As we are the only party which is, let's say, being born and built up only through citizens, with zero money and zero media, we are using all the capacities we have to achieve as many people get our message than we can. But all we have is social media. We have only the social media. The media, in its nature in Albania, it's not proper democratic media, free media. We have media that serves the three parties, the regime. So if the regime do not recognizes you, then the media do not recognizes you. If the regime decides that you do not exist, the media says you do not exist. If the regime says that you shouldn't be allowed to go there, not even big or small media would allow you to be there.
Yeah, well, that is true to a certain degree because you've been on television lately. You've been, you've been invited to some programs or not?
Well, there's only one, and it took a courage from a journalist.
Okay.
And I am really very much grateful to that guy. So I hope that we'll break this. I hope that as much as we grow, day by day, we'll break this. But still, the regime has a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Once somebody wrote to me, "You are condemned to be forgotten." Can you imagine that? If somebody writes to you that, it's a threat. But it has a meaning, because to be forgotten, you need to have everybody against. If you have only one side against, then the other side can allow you to proceed. But in order so that you condemn they punish you to be forgotten, so to not be allowed to go in media, they have to agree all together, government and opposition, SP, Socialist Party, PD, Democratic Party, and LSI, Socialist Movement for Integration. They're all together. Anyway, let me explain you one thing. What makes me optimistic? We have figures. 54% of the Albanians do not want them anymore in charge. This is the first figure. We have only social media. So we are using only Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, just that. But every day we have 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, till 50,000 Albanians coming to follow our messages. So with few instruments, just few instruments, we are getting to thousands of Albanians.
Well, the data also shows that is a result much bigger than the other party leader gets. I mean, when the other party leaders get into social media, it doesn't seem to us that they get those kind of numbers.
No, for example, if Ilir Meta, the President of the Republic, goes on social media, he never gets more than 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 8,000.
So it's a big gap. It's a huge gap.
Yes. Imagine a little bit, for example, let me say it like that. Edi Rama is the Prime Minister of the country, and how things work here, he gives an order. So when he goes live on Facebook, he gives an order to all the administration that they should go and follow him online. So they should be live following him. And they should all share his transmission. But still, he never gets more than, for example, 200,000 views. Imagine a little bit, he is the Prime Minister. He orders the administration. He sponsors his page. And he gets 200,000 views. Mm-hmm. We have a page not sponsored. No administration, no order, no militants. And we get, for example, at the very usual, randomly, 20,000. We have 10% of the Prime Minister now. Mm-hmm. It's 10% with zero money, zero media, zero orders, zero militants, 10% of the Prime Minister now. So the potential is there. All we have to do is work on that potential. I believe that in order to match this 52-54% of the Albanians who is against them, it needs a little bit of time to fit that with LRE. So them voting LRE. New movement, I think it's now by obligation coming to be the newcomer in the city. We are the newcomers because the regime is creating some new parties here, but they are all fragmentarizations. They come from the big parties with all the important figures from these big parties trying to fragment the big parties. We are the only one, the only party who is being created slowly with citizens from citizens for citizens.
Yeah, well, we've seen this happening in many other venues where things that come from the ground up instead of being, from up to down, they have much more power, and they, you know, it's like contagious. Once it starts growing, you know, it's very hard to stop it. While, you know, if you get something that comes from top down, you know, it does percolate down, but it, you know, then you need much more energy because, you know, it's spontaneous when it comes from the ground up.
Yep.
So
look, we are one day after Christmas.
Uh-huh.
Yes. What's the message of Christmas? We have the birth of Jesus, so which is something that has to do with spirit, mind, culture, lifestyle, and we have the consumerism. So the West is suffering this consumerism on the Christmas Eve, Christmas times, Christmas holidays, Christmas, everything around Christmas. It's consumerism. Consumerism, it's a, let's say, a great, big, huge industry that feeds a lot of people, but it's not about Jesus.
It's about the meaning.
It's not about the meaning.
Right.
You see, it's the same thing, more or less. So whether you see who's working, how they do things, how they trade things, or who believes in things. So in Albania we have, let's say, the part of those who are doing things, who are in charge. And I perfectly understand when you see the government, you think they are in charge. When you see the opposition, you say they are in charge. But they are consumerism. New movement, LRE, Lëvizja area. We are all about a meaning, all about an idea that is being born in this country. We want to change everything. We want to make history in this country by ideas, by a huge involvement of the citizen, a simple citizen, not just some elitary people up there deciding for everything, but people and citizens being involved for true and real idealism. So in times of consumerism, we want to talk about